Mr. Harris here, and welcome to a new video of Chapter 5.2. In this video, we're going to continue talking about heat transfer, in this case, radiation. So, in the previous videos, we've already talked about conduction and, of course, convection. For this video, we'll be talking about radiation. So, we all know that there's empty space between the sun and the earth, and this empty space is called a vacuum. So vacuum essentially means where there is a presence of there's no presence of air or very little air. However, in this case in space, as we know that there's not there isn't air. So for that, there is no conduction and no convection occurring. So how exactly is heat being transferred, or how is thermal energy being transferred from the sun to the earth? So for that, we'll be learning a specific name for this kind of heat transfer, which is called radiation. It can occur in a vacuum and in all directions. Okay? So through radiation, thermal energy is given out by the sun, and that is transferred to our planet Earth. So heat transfer is affected by many factors, especially for radiation. So let's see for radiation what factors affect it. So, the first factor we'll be talking about is absorber and radiator. So, for an absorber, it is when an object that absorbs thermal energy by radiation, and on the other hand, a radiator is when an object emits a thermal energy by radiation. So, let's use this example, very simple, and it will allow you to understand more. There are more examples in the textbook, but I'll be using this only. So during summer, usually your parents will ask you to wear a light colored clothing, a t-shirt, but not a dark colored one. You know the reason why? The reason why is because when we use a light colored clothing, we'll usually feel cooler. And the reason behind it is because light colored objects, they are poor absorbers of radiation. So usually when we're wearing a white shirt or a light color shirt, we will not be really absorbing the radiation, the thermal energy. But if you're wearing, for example, a dark color like black, then we'll be probably feeling quite hot actually. So based on this, let's conclude dull and dark colored objects, they're actually good absorbers and radiators, and that is why we do not wear them. We tend to not wear shirts that are dark colored. Okay, you'll feel hot due to that. Shiny and light colored objects, they are actually poor absorbers and radiators. Okay? And also earlier we've noticed that thermal energy can be transferred in a vacuum, and the process called by radiation, and radiation occurs in all directions. Okay, keyword is all directions. Right, keeping all this in mind, let's wrap up this part by doing some checkpoint questions. So, question 1A. In a vacuum, thermal energy can only be transferred by radiation. Is that true? Yes, it is true. As I told you, in a vacuum, there is no conduction and there is no convection. There is only radiation. See part B. A dull object is a better absorber of radiation than a shiny object. Is that true or false? Yes, it is true. A dull object, let me go back over here. A dull object and a dark colored objects, they are good absorbers and radiators. So over here, yes, this is true. They are better absorber of radiation than a shiny object. Let's see part C, question C. A white object is a better radiator than a black object. Is that true? No, that is false. A white object, as we know, this is a light colored. White is a light color. It's not that dark, so they're poor absorbers and poor radiators. So they're not a better one. There are. Let me just put poor. It's a poor radiator. All right, let's see question 2. In which of the following situations is thermal energy mainly transferred by radiation? So as we know, radiation mainly occurs when there's when there's a vacuum. So in these cases, it would be option 2, a snowman melts in the sun. So radiation, this is where radiation is primarily being transferred. Okay? Sorry, thermal energy is mainly being transferred by the process of radiation. All right? So that sums up the videos on conduction, convection, and radiation. So I'll wrap this part up over here, and in the next video, we'll be starting the new chapter, chapter 6. Okay, I'll see you guys in the next video then. Bye.